Hi, this is Ryan Moore with OptiMiser, and this is OptiMiser Residential Energy Auditing Software 102 Report Generation. Like with anything in OptiMiser, report generation can be extremely streamlined and fast. You can actually do it with 2 clicks, or it can be very detailed and customized. So what I've got here is a sample file where I've gone through and I've entered the basic information using the streamlined approach with a wizard. Basically, I've put in some basic building information. I put in utility bills because we know that utility bills are rich with information. So OptiMizer automatically calibrated this model to bills. I went through and I plugged in a little bit more information here about the attic and the systems. I added some notes here to the important areas that I knew I wanted to add improvements to. I chose this improvement. I got my pricing in there, so it automatically put that pricing in there, that unit pricing. I did a blower door test. I put that number in. Here's my heating system, base heating system, put that in. I'm not going to improve that, so I didn't bother to do any improvement specs. Modified this. A lot of this information was already filled in with defaults. I just modified that heating system type. I did test the leakage on the ducts here, so I modified that default leakage number. I said it was 180 CFM25 to outside, and I'm going to improve that by 50%, and I'm also going to add some insulation in there. They got a pool pump, so I made sure to add that, and then added some specs for the hot water system. I calibrated it, came out great. Here's my calibration results. So you can see that the model baseline lines up really well with the weather normalized bills, so historical usage. So we know this model's really good. We can count on those savings. And then I look at my package that I've selected so far, and it's a great package. It's going to pay off for them. I can look at their other measures here really quickly as well. So all I've done in terms of report content is I've added those couple measures by just clicking those measures that I've already had set up, and then I added a couple notes. If I want to, I can quickly go and review the notes that I have in there by going at the end of the wizard down to this notes section. So here in the envelope area, I see that I've got an attic and ceiling note. I don't have a photo. Maybe I've taken one on my tablet. I can add that, but I haven't attached it yet. And then down here in the systems area under ducts, I have a note there for the ducts as well. I don't have any owner concerns. I do have a default, just a default there. I'd set up an owner concern. I don't have any generic recommendations set up. I'm not going to include those in my report. That's not what I like to do. So what I can go and do is just hit my generate report button. I can also go to report, generate report, or hit Control R. All right, when my report generator comes up, I've got my settings on the top that show you the selections. That's what page selection are you using. So you can have your stock report type. In this case, it's the graphical PDF report. That's our factory default report, and you can make different page selections. The default page selection you can see down here by looking at which of these pages is checked, and you can actually modify that and save a new one. So you might want to create a much shorter page selection. So you would deselect some of these pages and then say save as, and then you can give it a name, and you can say, oh, this is going to be my short report or something like that. On the middle here, you see a pane of photos. Right now, it's showing you the stock photos. These are photos that are just in the OptiMizer installation. You can navigate to anywhere on your computer. Let's go into this this photos directory that I have. So this might be the directory where I'm saving photos from my tablet by default. So I see all of these nice photos in here that I've taken for this project, and I can drag any of those over to any red element. Okay, over here on the left, on the top, I see the page that's currently selected. That's the cover page, and then I see below that the elements on the page that are editable. So here's a couple photo slots that I can add and edit. If I click on a different page down here in my report tree, like I'll go to the introduction page, I see there's no photos on that page for me to edit. I can go down to owner issue 1, and I see some photos down here in red, photo 1, photo 2. I also see some text controls. So here's a control of the problem. Now I don't have much context for this right now because I've never used this report. I don't really know what's going on, so I'm going to use a preview. The previews are turned off by default. You have to hit the refresh preview button to generate them because they take a little time to generate. You can change that behavior if you've got a really snappy computer. I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. You can go to the report menu and say show page previews, and then once you click that once, that's turned on by default. So now every time you go into the report generator, it will show you a preview of the pages that you're on. So in this report right now, I don't have a cover page photo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cover page photo. So I'm going to choose from one of the photos that I took on this job. Let's see, a really interesting one was probably this photo. Here's a photo. Actually, these photos are from Nate Adams from Energy Smart Ohio. So here's a photo he took with the infrared. And then I am going to go to my introduction page. You see a preview of that. So here's how that introduction page is looking. So you can see that it's got some stock text in here and a little chart that shows the bill analysis. Okay, a typical energy use breakdown. I like that. I'm going to keep it in the report. I'm going to go down owner issues pages. These are not selected right now in my selection. There's a couple different basic types of reports. You can have a report that focuses on homeowner issues in lay terminology, the way that they've described the issues. You know, like the back bedroom is cold, or you know, I'm just spending way too much money on cooling in the hottest days of the summer, and I'm still not comfortable. And you can just repeat those issues back to them and describe kind of the underlying cause, get a little more technical, and the recommended solutions. And then you can add photos there, or you can have a more typical audit report where you're going through describing the things that you tested and the results of those tests in a little more technical terminology. That's the default way. We do have selections here delivered by default with a report where you can go and switch on that homeowner concerns focused report. So these pages are on by default. You can include those as well. You can include all the pages if you want to at once just by checking them. Say, yes, I do want to include that, and I'm going to go ahead and add a couple photos here. You can also adjust those bits of text if you want. Those text, when I click on the problem statement there, the text shows up here. I can edit it right in there, or I can use one of these canned responses down below that I've saved previously. All right, I just select one, and then I say, you know, I want to use that one, and it gets added in here. So I'm going to use the default one, and then I'm also going to add some photos. So this is about saving energy and money, and basically my cause that I said was there's too much outside air moving into the home. So I'm going to put in another couple of these great infrared photos just to show that. Maybe I'll do a matching photo. I don't think I have a matching photo in this case, so I will put in one of these after photos. Okay, down here. Now, my default captions don't quite line up here. So when I click on that photo one, where down here below I have my caption spot, it says seal penetration. So I'm going to go IR camera shows lots of leakage. Okay, and then I'm going to click on my photo 2 slot, and I'm going to say insulated attic part of an attic spray foam job. I'll refresh the preview just to check out and see how that's going to look before I print that. Great. Okay. So I'm going to leave that one owner issue. Let's see. I've got my home performance info. This is just general info. I've got a rundown of existing home characteristics. I've got a couple charts that show current energy use. That looks fine. Here's component loads, windows, infiltration. That looks great. And these are all being just generated automatically based on the model. Okay, here's my improvement table. There's a few different ways to show improvements here. Plus, you could have multiple packages if you want to. We won't get into that right now. So here's my 2 items that I wanted to add. Great. If I had an incentive applied, that would show up here as well, and it would show net cost. But I don't have any in this case, so that looks fine. And let me just take a quick look at my attic detail page. Okay, so here I have a detailed page about the attic. I can edit any of this content right here in the report generator. Maybe I want to have some default photos in there. I'll show you how to do that as well. I don't have any default photos in there. I do have some photo slots. So this kind of gray text tells me that I have a title here I can add, and I also have 2 photo slots that I can drop in there. So what I'm going to do is go back to my my photo directory here. I'm going to click on that first photo slot. Maybe I'll just add 1 photo to this page, and I'll add in, since I talked about ducts as well, maybe I'll add this photo in. Okay, so that takes a moment to generate, and there it is. I can add a caption to that if I want as well. And then let me keep going here. These other areas, building areas, are not going to print out because I don't have an improvement selected for those areas. Okay, if I want to print information about, let's say, the slab or the walls, I don't have an improvement that I'm recommending for those areas, I can go back in to the wizard interface, and I can check off that I want to add an improvement there, but actually set the improvement as no improvement. It's a little bit funky, but that way, you know, there's a way for you to force inclusion of something in the report that wouldn't generally make sense, but there's a way for you to include it. Just if maybe you want to let a customer know that you did examine that area, and you can show what you found and that you're not actually recommending any action there. And then let's go down to design loads. If I wanted to include design loads, I could do those as well. Since I'm not recommending a new system, I think I'll leave those out. And here's my duct page. I'll go ahead and add a photo there as well. Maybe that's not a great photo. There's a bath fan. Well, let me add this photo instead. All right, and you can see here my note shows up down here. Okay, so that's already in there for me. I can click here and I can edit that if I want. There's some additional pages that are going to be included in this report. I can take a look and see if I want to include this. This is kind of a roadmap. So this is for future improvements. So improvements that have a positive SIR but aren't included in this proposal. And then there's a little explanation about how you're generating the energy estimates. This is, a lot of people use this to kind of justify, you know, why do you take such a detailed look at the house? Why have you bothered to collect historical bills? How are those used? And this kind of describes that and gives you a chart of the actual bill data versus the model. I can include a detailed bid form if I want at this time that talks about units and unit costs and the individual components. I guess I'll leave that out for now. CAS information. I didn't do any CAS testing in this file, so these pages actually won't print, even though they're selected. It's pretty smart about, you know, only printing things that that you've actually done work on. Health and safety issues, I don't have any in this house either. And then you'll notice a bunch of extra photo pages at the end, none of which I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and generate this report. It wants to name it the same name as the file. This is the Arya Stark file, so it's going to try to name it Arya Stark PDF. All right, so this photo is a little bit tall, so I'm going to go back and maybe adjust that, find a new photo. But let's see, this page looks good. Here's my owner concerns page. Very good. So the only thing that I didn't like was that that cover page. So I'll go back here. It tries to resize things as best it can, but sometimes things are just too tall to do that. So I think I've used this one, but I haven't used this one yet. So let me replace that one here. See how that looks. Okay, that looks better. Okay, I'll generate the report again. Just overwrite that. And it's just going to open up in my default viewer. That looks great. Okay, so one more thing I want to show is you notice that a lot of these pages, like on my attic page, I didn't have a default photo there. Say I wanted to have a default photo. A good way to use the defaults is if you want to show an after condition, a target condition. So I want to show my ideal insulated attic view. I have a really nice photo. I want to have that be a default in here. I have two slots, so then I can use one for a before photo of the person's actual attic. To set a default, what you do is you go into a different mode. It's called Edit Template. It looks very similar. It's under the Report menu. It looks very similar to the Report Generator, and it actually says Report Generator up top, but this is a very different mode. And you'll see it looks different over here on the tree side. It doesn't have the top and bottom panes. It just has this one big tree. You use these plus and minus signs to drill down in and edit the default contents. The only time you're in Edit Template mode is when you want to change defaults, things that are going to be used for all or almost all of your reports. You don't want to go in here every time just because you want to change a photo for that particular job or you want to change some text for that job. You just want to go in here when you want to change the defaults. And so it probably wouldn't be the cover page because I probably want to use a unique cover photo for every job. But my attic, if I go in here to the attic table photo page and drill way down, this photo one already has, in this case, it's showing the photo that I've got selected there for this particular report. I'm going to go into attic ceiling photo 2, and I'm going to grab one of my photos here, another one of Nate's great photos. And when I go to drag it over to attic and ceiling photo 2, it says, do you want to attach a selected photo as the default for this factory default report? Yes, I do. So now every time I open OptiMiser and go to my report, I'm going to have this photo here as a default. This photo slot will still be open on a new project, and I can add in the report generator, I can drop in a photo of this person's attic if I want. But I'll have this photo here, and I can go ahead, still selected on that photo, and I can go ahead and edit the caption and say, this is what your attic should look like. Okay, so now I have my default photo and a default caption there. It's going to show up every time. Now, if I want to go in and change the report, I can do that anytime. I can go back into this project. I can select a different selections file. Maybe I want the owner concerns one, a short one, maybe a custom selection that I've made. I can go in here. I can edit photos. I can edit text. These controls are mirrored down here at the end of the wizard. The owner concerns controls you can see here. These are the exact same controls that were in the report generator. So you can edit them here too. These notes are the exact same controls that are in the report generator. They also appear on these component pages as you're going through entering data. You can enter your notes here as well. So it's very streamlined. It's very simple to use and very configurable. Thanks.